Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Everyone, here is Andrew Robinson, your brother Olden. And I'm reaching out to our brothers.
Yo, it's from the soul ndo nimetoa Kasavara Mudigi. Ukisikia msea na kwara ni vidin. Niko kwa inabidi niwachanganishe na izima thoughts zangu za within. Capital City washanisikia, so inafaa mashinani huko ndani pia. Kazi fike mitazi tahadithia, mweke shot tukikani kumalizia. Vile miaka 30 na karibia, inafanya na reflect on my early years. Zile vitu nimeona as a young boy, don't ever wanna see my mom in tears. Never, no money, no communication. They didn't see it coming, premature ejaculation. Miseducation, inaweza kuweka kwa my situation. We beat them like a case, no matter the speculations. Yeah, vile na slap kama wakambo. I am the one, I keep it a handle. Na hama fala hawezi relate. Yo, zangu ni raw, but si mambo. I do him that nimekam filthy. Na jeshe maspate me come with me. Kubeba bendera ya hip hop. Many juicy to ati me turn 50. I dare you to step up and come beat me. I dare you to go on a run with me. Can I run a run GG? I'm picking nafanya mnakaa midget. Inspector Mwala gives a Kenyan shilling kwenye dollar. So mean when I go in, more green kwa walenje ndo color. Time is money, the reason I protect it. Do the most, I don't waste it. Fake niggas like prosthetic. Nasema ina happen is prophetic. How could they forget me? Na vile na metaka confetti. How many times I've killed rappers and buried battles, I've won plenty. Brother telling me we gon' get there. Na game me go congested. Punch rappers kama konje. Vile kicks na snares are connecting. I'm not trusting. I didn't feel kwa pinnacle, lazima ni chase manze silalishi niliacha kungoja miracle. Wewe ngoja ni kwa mebila form na wanataka kunionanga bila doti ni wapa wako pika tapila, so lazima nibadilishe no familiar flow. Washingtons of rappers like Denzel. Nigga, it's my training day. Yeah, it's my training day. It's my training day.
Yes, good afternoon, family, grand rising. Hope you guys are doing amazing this wonderful morning on your end. Afternoon from my end. It's a really cold day today, and I hope you are having a fair and an amazing one, whatever the time is on your end. Welcome to another beautiful episode of the Pan-African Bliss Show right here on the media of the 21st century. My name is Joby to the first-time listeners, and of course, welcome to where today we shall be talking about the launch of the National School Deworming Campaign. And this is
lots of these things that we're doing
currently
are reversible decisions. Now, why?
This is currently happening in Kenya, so we shall be discussing that as our major conversations. I have literally an article to read regarding that, when this launch took place, what it's supposed, who it's aiming, what it's supposed to do, according to the healthcare ministry, who it is targeting, and of course, how did this come in collaboration? Because we're talking about the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education working together to actually reach a target of 6 million children to be dewormed. And we talk about literally the vaccinations that majority are literally spread in Africa. We don't want to go into details on that, but I'll literally let a video that I have play and explain that when I get into that particular conversation of a woman who actually broke this down. Shout out to this amazing lady. She's been literally enlightening Kenyans and Africans, I'd say at large, why you need to be careful about any deal that is brought in your country regarding your health, and how you need to be very, very careful. She's the same lady who was educating us how literally Kenya was to pass the bill regarding us being forced. Actually, we were being forced. We're supposed to be forced. I'm not sure if the bill already passed, but it was to be passed, where Kenyans were supposed to be vaccinating their cows. And she went deeper in it, discussing the causes and the effects of the mRNA, vaccination, or the mRNA in these vaccinations, literally, in the milk, how it's going to be affecting children and also for you yourself. And she went deeper and even explained so much regarding also our crops, why we need to not concentrate on whatever the philanthropist Bill Gates is telling us or has been pushing in Africa. So today shall be talking about that, but along that, we want to talk about what is happening in all of the African countries. Today I have an interesting article which shall be talking about the greatest scam in human history. I think we've been talking about the greatest scams. We've seen the IMF, the World Bank were a big scam that so many African countries or so many nations, literally globally, are enslaved. But to be specific, the African continent is majorly enslaved through this particular fake working or supposed to be working organizations or helpers. We also did talk about literally, of course, the creation of Israel. We know which, of course, we're talking about the Rothschild and how they came up with Israel, why they chose Israel to be where it was. And of course, that's when the creation of the IMF and the World Bank came and all that. Now we're talking about today another great scam, which is how central banks literally quietly enslaved the world. I think, of course, shout out to Keith, he's been educating us on this, but the reason why I want to talk about this and go detail to detail is because there's a video I was searching for last week of an African lady who was asking, why is it that African nations pay so much interest when it comes to loans, but America, has so much debt, but is barely discussed. So we want to start with that particular video as we literally get into the details and then expand all the way to Burkina Faso, or literally the Alliance Sahel state, and how they're using their resources to make Alliance Sahel state literally develop the way it is developing right now. And then with that, shout out to Keith again. There's a video you wanted me to share yesterday, and I literally, of course, today found it. One of our Kenyan officials was saying that there's the AI are literally pushing so much narratives, regarding what is happening in Burkina Faso, and that Ibrahim Traore doesn't speak even English. So it is just the AI punctuating everything to make it look like things are working. So it's super crazy. But karibuni sana. I'm going to start with this particular video right here. But before we do so, I'd love to urge you to download our app. Black Hot Fire Network is the name. You can find us on the Google Play Store if you are an Android device user. If you are an iPhone, Apple user, we are on our active website link, www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Once you have the app, once you are on the website, you can be able to check us out on all the social platforms. Literally, we are connected through the network. Through our app, which is the network, you can find all the rest of our platforms. I'm talking about Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, YouTube, all of them. And of course, also including our very own radio station. But I'm going to start with this amazing video right here as we get into the details of today's conversation.
Their foreign debt in dollars means that they have to somehow sell something that the United States wants, not what they want. I think the most evil organizations in the world today are the world.
Okay, let me restart the video. Sorry about that.
So we do have some time now for questions from the audience. I wonder if we should just take a few, and then we can respond to them all together. So, okay.
Thank you. I have a question. What's the difference between the U.S. debt and?
Shout out to you and Sankenwan Karibu Sana. I hope you're doing amazing. Hi to you too. I see you saying you're alive and grinding. That's nice. And of course, thank you so much for tuning in today. Hope you enjoy the rest part of your day as you tune in right here on the media of the 21st century.
That African nations own, because the U.S. debt doesn't keep the U.S. from being one of the leading powers of the world, but then African nations can't make it because of that debt that is strangling them.
Okay. The first question is a very important question. What makes African and third world debt different from the American debt? Number one, America is never going to pay its debts. It doesn't have to. Its debts are in its own.
Understand that America doesn't have to pay its debt. It never has to. It never had to. It will never pay its debt. Never has to. Never had to. Literally, use the past and present tense and future tense. Never had to. Never will. And they won't have to pay the debts. Literally, and we know why. We know why.
So we do have some time now for questions from the audience. I wonder if we should just take a few, and then we can respond to them all together. So, okay.
Thank you. I have a question. What's the difference between the U.S. debt and the debt that African nations own? Because the U.S. debt doesn't keep the U.S. from being one of the leading powers of the world, but then African nations can't make it because of that debt that is strangling them.
Should I talk? Okay. The first question is a very important question. What makes African and third world debt different from the American debt? Number one, America is never going to pay its debts. It doesn't have to. Its debts are in its own currency. We can simply print it. The African debt is not in its currency. The African debt is in US dollars.
Exactly. So we have to pay with a very big interest. I think there's a time we discussed this all the way down, and we see chunks of interest that African countries, and literally going back to us understanding how the IMF and the World Bank works, literally, there are conditions and terms. Not only are you being given loans with terms and conditions, these conditions comes with repercussions, of which literally leads to a total control of your whole economy. And not only are you literally being controlled economically, you're stuck in a system where you have to consistently keep on thinking about how you can repay this debt. Consistently, you have to keep on thinking about how can I be able to pay this debt. That is the type of scam and trap you've been kept in. So not only are you paying in bigger chunks of interest, you have conditions set up that are not supposed, this money is not supposed to be working in benefit of your people. You're also kept in a trap of where you have to consistently keep on focusing on paying this debt. This is crazy.
Africa has to earn the US dollars, and the only way it can earn the US dollars is not to be assassinated for growing its own food and becoming independent and doing something that the United States does not like. The principle underlying the foundation of the World Bank, the International Bank for IBRD, research, the World Bank, is that no country should grow its own food. Africa and the third world should only grow export crops. To export, in order to have an oversupply of cocoa and other tropical raw materials, to keep down the price, they must buy their grain from the United States or Europe, so that if they do something that we don't like, we can do what America tried to do to China in the 60s. We can sanction them. We can say, we're going to starve you. We're going to not export any grain to you. So owing their foreign debt in dollars means that they have to somehow sell something that the United States wants, not what they want. I think the most evil organizations in the world today are the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And my book, Super Imperialism, that I wrote in 1972, is all about that. The largest purchasers of the book were the Defense Department and the CIA. I was immediately, the organization I worked for was given a $75,000, $85,000 Defense Department contract for me to come to explain to them how American imperialism worked, and they used it as a how to do it book. They thought it was just...
Exactly. So that is the first video, okay? So I think till to there, we're good. Now, listen to the keywords he said. These countries, not only, number one, are they not, they're taking loans not in their currency, but in the US currency. Okay. Taking loans in their not in their currency but in the US currency. And also, like I said, these conditions, like we understood from the article that was talking about the creation of the IMF and the World Bank, literally, and how they're set up to work, and the scam that we kept in. You need to understand, one of the silent weapons of global power, it is one of the silent weapons of global power, the IMF and the World Bank. They don't invade nations, they offer help. Understand that? And that is where African nations were stuck in. We're always begging, demanding for help. And then these loans come, or we borrow them in terms of emergency loans, like we understood. They don't help us. We also borrow these loans to come help us or fund us to build infrastructures, which are very 60 years old backwards, or 500 years backward. Also, we borrow these loans as a debt relief. And the question I had was, how do you borrow a loan to escape a loan? Make that make sense. You already have more debt. Pay what you owe other people. And then maybe after you're done with your debt, you can expand now borrowing. You can't literally keep on increasing money after money. How are you going to be able to pay this? You're going to be bankrupt. And then you also understood the loop that never ends, because that's the trap you're kept in, where the country faces crisis, the IMF and the World Bank comes to save you with their billion-dollar loans. Understand, it's not in your currency, and you have to pay in interest. And then third, the loans come with conditions. This is what he's talking about. If you don't do what the US wants, if you don't do or obey the conditions of the IMF and the World Bank, they sanction you. These are the sanctions come in. They come up with their conditions, trying to tell you, if you don't do this, we're gonna take the if you don't accept the LGBTQ, we're gonna Those loans come with conditions to destroy local control. Not just conditions, but conditions to destroy local control. And also, more loans are required to fix the damage, because you've already taken a loan to fix a damage, but you've not been able to fix the damage. So you need more loans to fix the damage, and which you never fix the damage. So you're stuck. You're trapped. And we also understood their favorite demands. Like he said, they control mineral resources. They're done. They've taken control of your economy. They go deeper in the resources, which of course should be now, which you should be using. Shout out to Ibrahim Traore. You should be using your resources like Ruto was trying to defend himself, that we're using domestic resources to boost our economy. There's nowhere this is happening. Their favorite demands are, they cut subsidies for the poor. We understood that. They sell state-owned assets. We read this on Monday. On yesterday, actually, when we're talking about this, they allow foreign corporates to take over and also prioritize debt repayment over social welfare. So if you keep on asking literally, why are African nations struggling with paying debt, is broken it very well. We're dealing with a system of imperialism, like he said. It's crazy. So I'm going to go back and read this article now, since now we understand why African countries are struggling to repay their debt, and the US, while they never pay their debt. We have literally this article here also breaking down a few points regarding literally how central banks quietly enslave the world. And I believe when you talk about the world, let's focus majorly on the African continent, where the resources are. The setup. This is the setup. They talk about where you are born into a system that was never meant to free you. And every dollar you earn, every loan you take, every inflation crisis you suffer was engineered. As if we don't know this. Come on, we already know this. The real rulers don't carry flags. They print your future. Talking about the fake money scheme. They come and put and try to explain to you literally what is the central bank. And they're saying that the central bank is not like your bank. It doesn't store money. It creates it out of nothing. All right? They also issue currencies They control interest rates, they manipulate inflation, they bail out governments and corporations, and it also holds total power over economies. The central banking was designed to trap you. We're going back to this is the same scheme, I'd say, with the IMF and the World Bank. It doesn't make a difference according to me. It's the same scheme, the same conditions, the same terms, just different names. So the central banks makes money from inflation, which devalues your savings, of course. We're also talking about national debt, which you pay it with taxes. We're also talking about crisis, which they fund both sides. Because if you talk about the crisis in your country, it's them funding using these loans. Going back to the IMF and the World Bank structures, which again, like we said, they create this crisis. The moment you get into the IMF and the World Bank, you already have crisis. So this crisis, they also funded in both sides. They're also talking about how, and when they lend you money, they want interest forever, just like what I've shared on the screen. That man has given a very clear answer of literally why African countries are struggling to repay their debt. You have to pay with an interest. And understand again, like he said, we're not taking loans with the Kenyan currency. We're not going there to say like we want 100 million in Kenyan shillings. No, we're taking it in the US dollars. And we're paying it with the interest in dollars still. So it's a trap. They also add the system isn't broken. It is working exactly as it was designed. So if you think the system is broken, no, understand it is designed. It is working according to how they want it to work. Also adding why they want you to be in debt. These are debt control. The more the debt you owe, the more compliant you become. Which we're talking about student loans. We have mortgages, we have credit cards, we have government borrowing. All these feeds into the same machine and the central bank matrix. The families behind it, we have the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, and they weren't bankers. They were global architects. They funded empires, wars, revolutions. They control governments
and they're all cats.
Owned by the banks that created the currency. And these aren't conspiracy theories. These are on the public record. But of course, if you talk about publicly, you're a conspiracy theorist. Every time a leader fought a central bank, of course, most of them, they were assassinated, silenced, or overthrown. Talk about JFK. That's a good example because he did try to challenge the IMF and the World Bank. And they were like, how dare you? What do you mean? They had this Lincoln tried, so did Kennedy. We had Lincoln who tried, so did Kennedy, of course. We had Gaddafi who also tried. And we have literally right now, shout out to Ibrahim Traore, who's doing it. Not trying, but doing it. The penalty for exposing the real financial empire is death. So you have to be ready. The Fed isn't federal. They're saying that the Federal Reserve is not owned by the US. Not accountable to any government, and is owned by private banks, controls US currency and debt. Just going back again to the scheme of the IMF and the World Bank again, and Israel. All the dots literally connect if you listen to all these articles I've been reading lately, from the creation of Israel, the creation of the IMF and the World Bank, to how it was set up to work. Now we're talking about the central bank. Doesn't make a difference. Different names, but the same agendas. America was sold in 1913, and most people still don't know this. And they're saying that the global network of financial enslavement is where the central banks now control the US dollars, the European euro, most African and Asian currencies, the IMF and the World Bank. This set interest rates and print debts-backed money globally. And the world is a plantation. The central banks are the masters. Inflation is theft. And they're talking about inflation is the quiet robbery of your savings, where your money buys less each year, your rent goes up every day, your salary...
Shout out to your hair getting blow dried. That's what it means, it's theft.
They blame external factors, but they cause it intentionally by printing excess currencies. Why is this system why will the system never change? That is also another question on board. They're saying this because, of course, it was built to last. We're talking about the central banks. It was to fund both sides of the war, to choose presidentials behind closed doors. It was to own the media that protects them. They own the media that actually protects them. They created the fake crisis to consolidate power, and you can't vote your way out of it, but you can wake up. That is the truth. The final slide, they're talking about the truth that they have hidden, where the central banks aren't protecting economies. Of course, this is so true. They are feeding off them, which is very true. They enslave nations with debt. That is very true. They manipulate markets for profit. Again, another truth. They crash descent with inflation, another factor, and collapse and causation. They don't need permission. They already own the system. So when you're talking about the central bank is different, or, these systems are set up differently, think about it again. Go read in between the lines, understand everything. Because according to me now, understanding the central bank and the IMF and the World Bank, these things, it doesn't make a difference to me. Just different names. Same agenda to enslave people, keep people in this camp, in a trap.
They own all the banks. They own all the banks, Joe.
Exactly. The agenda is just to feed themselves. That is the total agenda. Yeah. Feed themselves. And this is through the real mineral resources.
Exactly.
Mineral resources. It's super crazy. But how are you doing today, Kate? Karibu sana.
I'm good, Joby. You're giving us a whole class. God damn.
Karibu sana as well. Hope you're doing great today. But shout out to Sister Sinovia as well. Nice to see you. Peace and love to you too. Hope you're doing great. And of course, have a beautiful, beautiful week. And Karibu sana to today's conversation. But as we move on forward now.
Who you going to teach that shit to in Kenya? God damn, you went deep.
We try to understand the dots. You came in a little bit late, so I'm just going to continue. Catch up, but understanding from the first video I just shared, I was sharing the video of the lady I was looking for last week, who was questioning why is it that Africa is struggling to pay its debt while America never has to pay its debt. So we had a white man breaking it all the way down, talking about imperialism system, how it was set up, the central bank, the IMF, and this one I'm backing up with this article that I'm reading to make African nations understand. And of course, this is why we have now other African countries, because we're already in this scam and we don't know how to explain it to Africans, that we really fail to read through the details. I feel like this is what is happening. These leaders are already in this scam. Of course, you chose to agree to become puppet. You signed
there's no African almost as educated as you. You know how you just broke. You know that now. How many Africans know what you just said, Toby? They grasped it, what you just said.
I don't know how many, but I believe the awakening is really there. Which is happening. But yeah, like I'm saying, I feel like where we are right now and why these leaders would literally rather choose dictatorship, because I want to share this video of this guy talking about how before Ruto became president and how he warned us, told us we need to be careful because the man we're dealing with is a man with similarities of Museveni, a man who's willing to talk, create nepotism, create a system that is only going to work for him. This means even if firing the people who were there before and installing others, a man who's willing to change the military power, or the whole system just because it's supposed to benefit and favor him and work for him. So I feel like literally looking at now what we're discussing about and understanding deeper about it, the scam, the trap we're in with these other Western European powers, it's really, really big. It's bigger than us, and it's bigger than these puppets. But these puppets, they thought it was just a job of, growing your balloon stomachs, not understanding, in between. You're supposed to be attending these summits. If they call you, you need to answer. If they put any agenda, you're supposed to, your country is supposed to go along with that agenda. If not,
that's why he went along with that agenda of the 2024 finance bill, because if he didn't, they would kill him.
Exactly.
Because he's their puppet.
That's what exactly that white man said. Like, if you don't go with the agendas, especially if you're in these organizations, you're gonna be sanctioned. After another sanction, and then they're in control of your resources. So you're gonna have to literally still end up saying yes because you're a yes man from the beginning. So
Exactly.
we are in a trap where these leaders don't know what to do because the system, the corruption went so deep. Like, this system of corruption went so deep to the point where they can't even explain it anymore. That is where Ruto is right now. Because the question is posing today is, why didn't Kenyans demonstrate during the other regimes? It's because the corruption was not really this much on our faces as much as it was there.
No, the corruption was there, Joby. You wasn't as educated. You wasn't as educated as you are today, Joby. Your parents didn't know none of the stuff you know. Your parents, that's just the last generation, Joby, didn't know what you know today. Not alone your grandparents and your great grandparents. They didn't know none of this stuff, Joby.
I agree with that. Number one, we're talking about a generation that is educated. That I do agree. And okay, I do agree with that. There's also advancement with like what we were talking about yesterday, technology and all that. It's crazy that these people don't understand. I'm about to share that video because I found it of that official you're talking about. It's crazy how these people don't understand that people today are using AIs, to explain videos or to explain, things.
Yeah.
Dealing with morons that were not educated and that this technology existed way before. It's just that right now it's more being talked about in the open air. It's an agenda that is being pushed, and that's why this is happening. So I want to share this, and then we understand what we're dealing with now, because this is an African problem. We're not talking about Kenya. This is an African problem, and I love the fact that every African nation, even if it's not every day, people are trying as much as they can to fight for their country. They're trying to demand a better democracy, not this democracy we have. These are questionable democracy. We need to question who created this democracy.
It doesn't. It's not a democracy. That's why you got abductions and killings. It's not a democracy. It's a scam. It's a scam pretending to be a democracy, Joe. There are no democracies on the planet, Joby. There are none. Because if there was a real democracy, I had to kill you.
Exactly. The problem has gone so deep. The system has run so deep to the point where they think we can't overcome this anymore. We can't try and be better leaders. We already sold the country out long time ago, and that is by the deals you agreed to by saying you want to work with the IMF and the World Bank, which comes with conditions. Like we've understood again, they come with conditions. They take complete control of your country. Your country starts facing crisis. The IMF and the World Bank is there to try come and help you, but at the end of the day, you need to now start selling your state-owned assets. You're gonna start giving subsidies. You're gonna start allowing foreign corporates to come and take over. We're seeing that this is why the Chinese and these other people are feeling so entitled. It makes sense, literally, why these people feel so entitled.
Yeah, Joe, that's what you understand it. You understand it.
But this is what this man was warning us about, Ruto. Listen.
William Ruto, you can understand him by the friends he keeps.
To be honest, I'm not sure if he's alive. I was to check on that. I'm not really sure if he is alive, but yeah.
Even internationally, his best friend is Museveni of Uganda. You see how Museveni is dealing with Besigye. That is the William Ruto you're looking for. It's only a matter of time and he'll put on the same hat as Museveni.
He did. Like, that is what he's telling us. To the waking up of this morning, Ruto just said, and I quote what he said, all this mayhem and chaos people want to cause in this country is of no use. Why wouldn't they protest during the administration of other presidents? I want to tell them that enough is enough, and all the nonsense will have to stop. We cannot lack peace because of a few criminals hiding behind protests. Also, anyone fighting the police is declaring war in this country openly. He's telling us the police have the right to kill and shoot. This is what this man is telling us.
He's a dictator. Exactly. Oh, criminal. These children are criminals. He's the criminal. See, that's how fake democracy works. And then, like I said, they own all the media so they can control the narrative. That's why they get rid of TikTok, so they control the narrative. See, everything for them, the banking scam is based on lies, control the narrative, keep people enslaved, while the Jays get to be rich and live off everybody's back. Everybody's now a slave because of a fake banking scam, a fake paper. You understand this? But most people don't have no idea how the world really works, how this happens. And when you tell them what Joby just told them, their eyes glaze over in the back of their head because they're not smart enough to understand it. They've been educated. That's why all educational levels on the planet have been dumbed down. You walk around here with a bunch of morons globally. And I'm not going to say my wife's family. I was in a goddamn morons. Don't marry into morons. I'll tell you this now. Don't marry into morons. You'll want to shoot yourself in the head. Go ahead.
Yeah, so let me share this video here of course, this is now from just, I'm trying to make you guys understand the dots now and why we need this kind of leaders actually leading us. Again, this is a question I've been having a couple of times, arguing with some of my friends, why I feel it's okay if we had a military rule. Some of them are like, if we have a military rule, you don't have freedom, we're gonna...
No, you do have, you're not understanding.
Exactly.
That all your politicians are bought and paid for. The central bank controls them. So you don't have, your elections are phony. Once you understand this, the only reason why they got military rule because it's only through the military. Now, you can have corrupt militaries, of course. These guys are non-corrupt. Only through the military could you have that sort of structure and force to say we're completely cutting off these central banks. You couldn't do that with no elected official because you have parliament on them all trying to disagree and your fake opposition leaders who all control, like Joe, we told you, they control all of it. So your opposition is fake. It's not real opposition. So that's why this man right here sitting there is the most, and everybody knows, this man, and Joe, we show this young 37-year-old man is the most important man in the world right now. And this is a fact, and people know that. This is the most important man on the planet. And that's why he must be killed. He must be kept silent because they're scared because the whole scam breaks down. If Africa gets free, the whole banking scam doesn't work because they don't have no resources to justify the fake dollars that they print, the fake money. The money's fake. It's an illusion. Right? It's an illusion. You say it's worth this much money. It's just paper. It's just writings and numbers on paper. It's not backed by anything except for the real resources in Africa. So if they lose Africa, the fake banking scam it crumbles. Why do you think the Jays control all of Africa? All in South Africa, it's the Jays down there. Jays in Kenya, Jays. Because if Africa gets free, the whole scam comes to an end. Because Africa's where all the damn real shit is at. Exactly. Africa goes, the whole thing collapses. And that's why his ass has got to be murdered. And that's why they keep trying to kill him every other day. That's why this man right here, because you don't know anything, is the most important man in the world. This little black man here, this young man, is the most important man on the planet.
Exactly. But yes, as I really go on and explain, now understanding why we have these Kenyan officials and of course most of these African puppets, let me say, why they're talking this ill of Ibrahim Traore.
Yeah, exactly. They put going to war. Oh, we're gonna go to war with you if you don't. You ain't going to war against Museveni. You ain't going to war against Equatorial Guinea. I'm gonna say something. Equatorial Guinea, this moronic son, the vice president, bought this $200 million mansion in Paris, in France, right? But the French government confiscated it from him, right? And this dude was, his people in abject poverty. He's got a $200 million mansion in Paris. And then try to say, oh, well, we use this as a second embassy. I said, that's not your embassy. That's why those psychopaths, African people, you're too loving. You're going to have to, I'm just going to say, you're going to unalive these people. I'm just telling you, that's why they're there. But go ahead, Joe.
So of course, we know these puppet leaders are talking ill because they have refused to break free from
Exactly.
wild scams that I just read. Number one, being kept in debt, which you have to keep on repaying with a lot of interest. And not only are you actually just you're focusing on repaying debt, again, your economy is completely taken over. We're also talking about your resources, land, gold, cobalt, silver, everything being completely taken over to the point, like the white man explained, where you can't even produce your own food. So you have to keep on being dependent, even with your own stomach. You have to keep on accepting the so-called aid, the genetically modified food, to come and feed you. If you don't accept or abide to the conditions of the loans or the deals that you literally agreed to sign into. So shout out to Ibrahim Traore or the Alliance Sahel state literally as a whole, because they have broken free from this. And this is why we see the rest of the puppets are talking crazy about him.
They
A
ain't,
good,
they ain't
like you
broken
said,
free yet.
you
They ain't
see,
broken free yet. Exactly. They're trying in the process of breaking free because
mhm.
they're gonna. I told you, they're gonna come see them.
we,
They're
we, we
gonna
have
come see them.
we have to say and agree, it was not expected to go this far, because at the beginning
Of
of
course not.
a lot of tension and because of the attempted assassinations, especially
They
regarding
have. They
Traore.
have to come. They have to come see. What you just read, Joby, about the banking system. They have to come see them, Joby.
I agree. I do agree. But we also have to agree, at least. I don't know how long Thomas Sankara lasted and the rest of the Patrice Lumumba.
He
I'm not
last.
sure
He
how long.
lasted. Thomas and Core lasted 3 years before they put a bullet in his head. 3 years. That's it. Same time Ibram Touré's been in office. 3 years. He's been a little more smarter because he's learned. Lumumba then last number like 7 months when he
Mm-hmm.
told those white people, "Hey, the Congo is the richest place on the planet, and it's gonna." And he was being bold. He went to Europe, said, "Then those resources belong to African people. We've never been poor, and from now on, those resources belong to us." And before he got down on the plane coming back, they had already decided, "You got to go. We're not gonna allow him to make us poor, and we're gonna get rid of him. We're gonna get one of these goopy Negroes who always, we're gonna get one of our puppets, and we're gonna murder this man." And as soon as he got off the plane, of course, he was already scheduled for murder. They threw him in a bucket of acid, dissolved his body, and had that Mabutu moron in power for 30 years. That idiot. As the IMF openly, it wasn't the IMF openly ran Congo, when he renamed it Zaire. It's back to Congo now. He tried to name some goofy Belgian name Zaire. Then he got named back to what it was, Congo. But openly, his whole administration was run by the IMF. So they got rich, and everybody in the Congo's poor, like the other. Everybody poor, starving. Because so long as he can be a big Negro. Hey, your people starving. You haven't done that. I don't care. I'm done with the IMF, and I'm safe. I'm the big man. I'm the big head nigger around here. I got my mansion and my cars. Just goofy shit. Go ahead.
Let's share this video. Then I'm going to read an article now as we get closer to winding up. Of course, trying to understand also the creation of the fake money, literally, why the world started worshipping the fake printed paper over the real wealth. Because when you talk about the real wealth, again, like I mentioned, we have land, we have livestock,
Where
we have.
where it started, Joby, as that didn't mean they found out at first. It's almost like an accident because gold is heavy. Nobody wants to carry around gold. Gold is heavy, so it started with people saying, "Well, I get this piece of paper, and it will." It's like an IOU note. So this paper will be exchanged for the gold. It'll say that this printed paper I got represents the gold. So so then they figured, damn, we can detangle the gold from the paper and just pretend that
Mhm.
this paper is worth gold. And that's how
Paper,
they did it.
paper notes backed by government promises. Merchants
Yeah,
began accepting it for trade, and it was easier to
yeah,
carry or
you got it. There you go.
transport. And they're also talking
Yeah, because
about how
it was easy, Judge. Nobody wants to carry around a sack of gold. That's heavy as hell. Paper's light. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, they're talking about when the gold backing disappeared. The turning point was Nixon removed the US dollar from the gold standard,
No
and that meant
standard.
the gold was no longer tied to gold. And this value, its value came from belief alone, just a belief. And it also
Yeah,
became a flat
you
currency
agree.
valued by decree. Okay,
Yeah,
so the
you
same.
agree. If I give you
Mhm.
$100, Joey, you agree that's worth $100. It's not backed by nothing. It's backed by your agreements and my agreements. You say, yeah, okay, Keith, it's worth $100. Okay, cool.
Exactly. This is why we go back now to the rise of the central bank, which I just read. Of course, its creation. The central bank takes control. They didn't mine gold. They just typed numbers into existence, and which also,
Exactly.
of course, did create interest of manipulation. Like I read from the other article, like as well. It creates inflation, which is
Inflation.
managed in quote, and stimulants printed at will. Okay, they're also talking about the magic trick debt disguised as wealth, where most people don't realize your money is not an asset; it's a liability. Every dollar
Liability.
is a debt. Every loan creates more money. It's all an IOUS passed by around.
A debt scam.
Mhm, around as wealth, and um, the modern economy is equal to illusion of value, and no one wants to break that spell, of course.
Exactly. It's illusion of value. So we hear even Traore said, we're wealthy. We the ones got the real shit. This money is fake. And he's right.
Hmm.
Africa has the real wealth. We're living in an illusion. Kenyan shillings, the Nigerian naira, it's all fake. It's fake. Controlled by the same cats with the hat. It's an illusion. It's
Hmm.
fake. It's only because I agree. If Joby sends me 20,000 Kenyan shillings, it's only because I agree that this is worth 20,000. It's not. It's fake.
That is true. They're also
But
talking about why they stopped chasing the gold, silver, and land. And this is because the paper money brought speed, credit cards, online
yeah,
banking, algorithmic
algorithm. Mhm.
testing, yeah, which is to the tangible assets were too slow, and the system made it inconvenient to hold real wealth. And the convenience is equal to security, and the security,
As I
that's
said,
how.
convenience.
Mhm. And last but not least, they're also talking about how psychology was rewired. They trained us to save cash, not own land, chase salaries, not passive income,
You know
fear.
what Joby said? I was from when our parents back in the 80s. I could have bought land. Yeah, you could have bought real wealth land.
Literally. Oh, like, oh, why didn't you get a land
I,
for 50,000 when you were
I don't know if you would have been smart enough to do that, Joby.
like, sounds crazy. Like there was so much money in circulation at that time, you know. At least you have taken, take the fake money, make the fake money,
Work for something, yeah, because you would have created
yeah,
generational wealth because that
at
land
least.
stays in your family.
Yeah, because they'd already created the psychology and rewired it. So, chase the salary, but ensure you don't save cash and own a
Yeah.
land. At least own a land. That's what you need to do. But they're also talking about fear, volatility, and not inflation. You need to fear volatility more, not inflation. And worship the paper, not production. Okay. So this is why you
Exactly.
see don't have literally zero they have zero information, especially in Africa, about the real wealth, the
Of
real
course.
money, what we're supposed to be actually valuing. And that's saying the system doesn't want thinkers. It doesn't want it wants obedient paper chase.
How about that, Joby? What about the critical thinking? About the critical thinking? About the critical thinking? It doesn't want you to be able to critical think, Joby. You just-
You have to beat the odds. At least try, get out, think out of the box. Even sometimes when you class and the paper gets too hard or exams are too hard, you have to think out of the box. Maybe the answers from A to D are not matching.
Isn't it
Think.
funny? Isn't it funny? Joby hated school, but Joby is now smart as hell. It wasn't the school. Joby didn't want the fake education she was being taught. That's what she rebelled. That's what she rebelled against, the fake education. Because you got a real education now and know much more than most people ever know, Joby. It
It
wasn't
surprisingly
that you didn't want to be educated. You didn't agree with the fake education you were given.
it really surprises me because sometimes I find myself doing research about all these things,
I
especially gold.
know. You surprised me how deep. Surprised me how deep you go. I'm like, God damn.
Like today, I completely realized my algorithm on Instagram has completely changed. It's just politics, politics, politics. If I see probably anything regarding entertainment is because of the pages I follow and the people I follow. But mostly, I'm getting even new pages of now more Africa orientated conversations and political, articles that are really giving more truth and facts. So it's really interesting to myself as well to see myself going this deep and trying to understand how this
I
works.
know. I'm like, damn.
I really hated school, no cap. But yeah, they're saying that the real assets are still there, but of course they get kept. We know they're very much gate kept. Talk about the puppets. We know we have we have the top elites, we have the puppets, and we have the cartels. If it really makes sense, so they're saying that they want land, which is too expensive. They want, if you want gold, you're seen as outdated. If you want stocks, it's overvalued, and also we have the manipulation. But institutions, they buy real estates, art, commodities, and in bulk. Not just buying, but they buy in bulk. And this is because they know the paper burns fast when storms comes. So you need to go back and understand. You need the real
assets. You're the real thing. They know when every system collapses, the first thing to go is the fake paper, because America's going to collapse. So your fake paper in your bank and all this fake paper is going to be worthless. That's always going, because you know why? Because it is worthless. The only thing that's real that they tell you is land, gold that you can hold, real shit. That's tangible. That's real wealth. Even though they gave you an illusion of fake wealth, but when a system collapses, the paper is worthless because it's an illusion.
Yep. Yeah, so they're also talking about, I'm going to read the last two slides of this article. They're saying inflation is the quiet tax that eats you alive. And if you saved probably, say, 100 euro, 100 euro, what? If you saved probably 100,000 euros in 2010, you lost 50% of its buying power by 2025. This is the reason why, because the currency supply has doubled, the assets have inflated, the wages stayed flat. Money isn't wealth, money is melting. It is complete, like he is saying. Right now, the dollar is literally collapsing. And you remember the video I was sharing on Friday? This man was saying they are even excited that the agenda is going super fast than they expected, that the dollar is literally devaluing as super quick than they expected. So it's crazy. The final slide talks
they need a dollar collapse because the cats they want to bring in a new system of control. They control all the money, all of it is digital. They would all lock down. It's psychopathic. He's a psychopath.
They're saying that the world stopped chasing real wealth because fake wealth became easier to print, manipulate, and sell. Gold takes effort. Real estates take planning, but paper money is just press and enter and you print it. Until we actually redefine value, we're gonna keep on staying trapped in a system where wealth is fiction and freedom is leased. So you think about it, and now we have Ibrahim Traore. Shout out to him. We have reports earlier today which were talking about how is the Minister of Burkina Faso Humanitarian Affairs revealed that under Ibrahim Traore, they have reached 99% of their goals without the USAID, the IMF, the World Bank.
Exactly, it's all fake. Exactly. They took all they did with Joe said they took back their own real resources and said we're going to claim it for us. And so if every African country does it, because guess what? Kenya, you're not poor. You got puppets that give all your wealth to the cats in the IMF, the World Bank. You're not poor.
Yep.
You're not. Good.
Merci beaucoup, camarades. My friends, let me tell you, when somebody has got a gun on his waist, that's him.
That's him.
You cannot argue with that person. A civilian government.
This idiot has been on the opposition. Not did anything for us to fight for the country better. Look at him, a big balloon stomach, very fat.
Exactly. He does it. It's all AI. The accomplishments are real, dude. They use AI just to explain the accomplishment. And I think you know that, but you're just saying that shit because you've never done nothing. There's no accomplishment you've done.
Exactly.
Elected by the people is better than any military government.
He would win any election, dude.
Government haunted by Ibrahim Traore. There is something about the name Ibrahim Traore that stirs two widely different emotions.
All of
in
them.
the African
Exactly. All of them, because they're all puppets and prisoners and slaves of the IMF and the cats. These African nations have thrown off the cats, and it exposes them as phonies. This and also that exposes all these African nations as phonies. Go ahead, Jim.
In parts of West Africa, his name is chanted like an anthem.
Exactly. He would win any election. He's unelected. His people are you got people that lay outside the president's building so they can't sneak assassinate him. You got regular citizens who are out there building roads for free for this man. But you thought he won't win no election? Are you crazy? No, not just the country, the whole continent loves this man. So the idea he wouldn't win an election is absolutely moronic. And you know it's moronic. He'd win an election in your country. He'll come to your country and win the election. From Kenya to Nigeria to Botswana. He'll win all elections in Africa. And you know that.
Period.
Go ahead, Joe.
Fearless young captain who dared to defy the West.
Exactly.
Claimed Burkina Faso's dignity from imperialist claws.
Yes. So he wasn't with look at this. He wasn't with no election. He's undemocratically elected. They want to be able to get in this so they can steal an election and put a puppet in there if he had a real election. But luckily he's got all the puppets and the fake people out. He'd win any election. Everybody knows common sense. He'd win it. But he's not elected. Get out of here. Go ahead, Joe. He's not no longer a fake democracy.
But in Kenya, particularly in the corridors of William Ruto's State House, Traore's name doesn't inspire applause. It triggers unease.
It is a military government. It is not a civilian government. A civilian government mtapata nafasi 2027 to make a decision in a civilian government.
That is a lie. We're not gonna. You know.
Isn't it funny? And why don't they never say anything about? They want to send their people to Saudi Arabia is not a civilian government. It's not a democracy. That's a fake kingdom that the British set up. Abu Dhabi is a fake kingdom. Dubai is a fake kingdom. Qatar is a fake kingdom, not run by the people and not a democracy. Bahrain is a fake kingdom, run not by the people. Why are any of these African bootleg, handkerchief-head Negroes saying anything about the Middle East that doesn't practice democracy? There was no democracy in Assad's government. There's no democracy in Saudi Arabia, but they want to see their people there. There's no democracy in Qatar.
I've been seeing videos of Kenyan women. Majority are coming back with HIV and AIDS from Qatar.
Wow, for these people. Wow. Wow. Yeah, because you are the ones who had it. Black people, sorry. So, Oman, why are any of these handkerchief head, fake ass niggas saying about when they sending their people, well, we want to send our people there to non-democratic countries and then giving them praise. Oman is not democratic. Qatar is not democratic. Dubai is not democratic. Bahrain is not democratic. Saudi Arabia is not democratic, Joby. Why don't none of these niggas ever say that? Ever. Out their filthy ass mouths. Because they're not. Because the African is supposed to be the moron and still stay with the fake democracy nonsense. They haven't said anything about. Put us up, Joe. Keep that video going. Put us up. Say, type this in Google. Say, Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. Just type that right there. Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. Yes, it's not. None of the Middle East is a democracy. These niggas never say a goddamn thing about it. We're not sending our people not to non-democracy. What does it say, Joe?
Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. It's an absolute monarchy where the king holds supreme power and there's no elections for political office.
Saudi Arabia is one of our biggest friends. Dubai, Joby, which is not a democracy, one of our biggest friends and our allies. Oh, Joby, Qatar is not a democracy. Bahrain is not a democracy, Joby.
Crazy.
Go ahead.
Isn't the romanticized revolutionary social media memes paint him to be? To them, he is the example of military autocracy, a warning of why soldiers should never trade their barracks for presidential palaces.
Unajua watu wengine wanafikiri ati
some people think that the leaders they see online, those wearing masks, carrying guns on their hips, that's what leadership is.
Carrying guns.
And everybody knows why they wear masks, because they'll get killed because they have all kind of special guns, heart attack guns, and put certain things on your body that go through your skin and kill you. Oh yeah, he doesn't know, because he knows most Kenyans are still stupid. They don't know how real world spy agencies work. He's just saying nonsense because he knows he's uneducated. Most Kenyans know how the world works.
Yeah, he thinks majority of the Kenyans. I'll say he thinks majority of.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll share another video after this. Man, I have.
All right.
Get time before I get to wind up.
Let me tell you, when someone has a gun on their waist and another one on the table, you cannot argue with such a person.
You don't shoot you in the head. Get out of it. That's for his protection.
That's why I am warning you. Don't be fooled into thinking military governments, those that come to power through coups rather than ballots, are a solution. A civilian government elected by the people, even with all...
Civilian governments are not working. What is this?
Exactly. And they know that your ballots are fake. See? They know.
Always is about us going back to civilian governments. Can you actually show us out?
He can't. What about Museveni, who's been elected supposedly 8-9 times? He's 40 years in. What has he done?
Actually, civilian governments are the ones operating like military governments now.
Exactly, Joe. But they don't work. They don't work for the people because, like we read, they work for the IMF and the World Bank. This moron is a puppet of the IMF. And he's been seen, Joby. This moron here has been seen taking lunches with the IMF, who are his bosses, Joby. He's a slave. They are his boss.
I think there's something he said. I'm trying to remember. There's something he said that was very triggering about Kenya last year. I'm trying to remember. This idiot never says anything sensible. His name is Musalia Mudavadi. He's an idiot. Nothing else. Like Balloon Stomach always just on the opposition leader side.
He's the same moron. Say, oh, it's the Kenyan women who are responsible for the rapes in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia. They have bad behavior. African women are conservative. They have no bad behavior. That's a lie. So, but you didn't say we shouldn't send our people to a non-democratic government. It's undemocratic. You didn't say none of that bullshit.
Something you said, I'm trying to remember.
All its flaws is far better than any military regime, any day.
Okay, he was the same idiot pushing about the GMOs. This same idiot.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's it.
We need, Kenya. We've been starving. It's okay for us to.
This is an unapologetic, dirty Negro puppet. Unapologetic, bought and paid for, boot-licking coon. This is what this dude is. GMOs kill black people. It causes cancer and they're harmful to your health. They pay his ass. I'll give him some money. Say that. Hey, we're Kenyans. How can we not eat the GMO? That's what I'm talking about. These kind of Negroes have got to be given a 21 military salute. If you know, you guys know what a 21 gun salute is. He must be bubble gum. All kind of fresh bubble gum to this dude.
Billion government is better any day.
Don't be misled as Kenyans. You know artificial intelligence? They take Ibrahim Traore's videos and add artificial voices, making it sound like he's speaking perfect English. But they don't speak English. They speak French. Yet conveniently, they are using AI to deceive African youths that his leadership is flawless. There is no perfect leadership
Ibram speaks French and English, moron. He speaks French and English, moron. But go ahead, Joe. Of course, his native language is gonna be French because they were conquered, invaded by the French. So of course, his native language is gonna be French, and also his native language of his tribe. But he also speaks English too. Stupid. But go ahead, Joe.
It is and will remain a military government.
But what's that got to do with the accomplishments AI? Are the accomplishments real? See, you can't go against the accomplishments because the accomplishments are real. Either he created they got cars that they're making in Burkina Faso, or it's a lie. They create an aircraft and now create jet. They now open a college industry to make jet planes, helicopters, and regular airplanes. Either that's real or it's not. And we know it's real. It's not AI. That's real. That's really happening. Go ahead.
My friend, it's artificial intelligence. Yeah, they don't converse in English, they converse in French. But conveniently, wanamweka kwamba anatoa story in very fluent English. It is artificial intelligence. Kuhadaa vijana wetu wafikiri kwamba hapo ndio kuna uongozi.
I would say, sir, are the accomplishments okay, we understand the videos are AI. We get that, we know that. Are the accomplishments artificial intelligence, or is that really happening? Okay, we don't care about the videos. I'm asking you, are the accomplishments he's putting into motion, is that AI, or is that really happening? And why haven't you done it in 60 fucking years? Okay, that's what I'm going to ask now. I'm asking you this. Why doesn't Kenya make his own airplanes? Is that art? Is that AI, or is that real? So let's go and look for real and see if it's real. Let me ask that question to you. Let's go see if the accomplishments are artificial intelligence, or is it really what's happening on the ground? So we know Burkina Faso did launch its own airplane. We know that's real, not AI. The video might have been AI. So why hasn't Kenya did it in 65 years of independence? I'm asking you, dummy. So I'm okay. Helicopters. We know Burkina Faso is making its own helicopter. Why hasn't Kenya did it in 65 years of civilian rule? Okay, we know Burkina Faso is making its own phones. We see there's an AI video, but we went and found out they're really making phones. Why hasn't Kenya started making its own phones in 65 years? Okay, we're not talking about the videos. We're talking about, are the accomplishments real? That's what I'm asking you, moron. Okay, now we know that Burkina Faso is now starting to grow all its own food to be self-sufficient. Is Kenya growing enough food to be self-sufficient? And if not, why not in 65 years? And we know you haven't. We know the majority of Kenyan food is imported, because that's why you're talking that GMO shit. So I'm asking you, moron, why are you not self-sufficient in planting and growing food in 65 fucking years of independence when you've had civilian rule? Oh, I cannot answer none of these questions because you're stupid as shit. Shut up. Go ahead.
In a civilian government.
The Kenyan government has gone out of its way to warn citizens against catching Burkina Faso fever, including sketching nightmare scenarios.
They made it illegal. It's illegal now. It's illegal in Nigeria to even mention even Traore and Burkina Faso. It's illegal in Nigeria. You know why? Because of fake countries like Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, all fake countries controlled by the IMF. That's why they're making laws that go against, like Joey said, the real countries of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. Go ahead, Joe.
According to Silvana Sosoro, a Kenyan Traore would mean chaos, ruin, and a one-way ticket to dictatorship.
Kukiwa kubaya hapa hakuna nchi nyingine. Leo hii tukiandamana tunaenda kutoa rais kwenye State House.
Let's not allow chaos in this country.
About chaos. You understand what the African puppets always say? Chaos. You getting free of this chaos. What they told you when Joey went down Tasman. We don't want chaos. We want peace. No, as long as we're enslaved. A slave. Being a slave means you don't get chaos. You just be enslaved and impoverished. They say the same shit in every same you hear in Nigeria. We don't want chaos. We don't want the evil Torah chaos. That means you don't want development. You don't want a change in the country where actually it benefits the people. That's what they're telling you secretly. We don't want any change. We don't want to not be poor. This is the puppets that they've installed back in the 1960s. The IMF installed all these puppets in the government. That's why Africa's not worked. Ain't it funny? You ask yourself, when you critically think, why is Africa not worked in 60 fucking years? If you've had all this stability and not chaos, then why the fuck are we broke and we're the richest continent then? See, your fake nonsense, your fake outrage doesn't work. The Africans are starting to know we're wealthy, as we even told Ray said, we're wealthy. That's a fact. Then why are we fucking poor? These morons keep telling you, oh, not the cat. Why are we poor? Africa is the richest continent on the planet, and not by a little bit, by a lot. Then how the fuck are African people in poverty? How is Africa 60, 70 years behind developmentally? What are you talking about? How are we behind developmentally? Why are you morons buying villas in France and England and all this other shit in America? Why you haven't built nothing here? You want to tell me hate people that building real hospitals like Bikini Faso, giving free medical? And but that's the bad. That's chaos. Bikini Faso is now giving everybody real free medical in real hospitals that look like a fucking hospital. That's some shit that Joby showed me they go in. Actual hospital, right? So that's why they keep trying to propagandize your mind. So I'm in the richest continent. That means Africa. I know that's a fact. Why the fuck am I poor? Why the fuck I don't have any jobs then? Explain the job. We don't have a job. Why there's no damn why there's no economy being built here? Why is there no economy? Because you're supposed to have all the jobs, all the resources come from Africa. So why don't I have any factories? See, these are questions they don't want you to ask. Just talking this dumb shit. We don't want to be disillusioned. What the hell he's saying? Okay, why don't I have no factories here? All the minerals come out the ground here. All the minerals that the world uses to make an economy comes out of my motherfucking backyard. So why am I poor? The gold, the cobalt, the coltan, the this, the that, and the other comes out of the African goddamn backyard. Why the fuck am I poor? I shouldn't be poor.
Exactly.
I shouldn't be poor. Go ahead, Joe.
Then I'm gonna share another one of this Kenya, talking about the common agenda when literally the youths hit the street. The same thing Green Googie was talking about yesterday on the video.
Your youth are starting to know exactly. I'm starting to link Googie. Your youth, then they starting to know. Then Googie's asking real quick. It's all a scam. Exactly. Why are we poor? All these goofy speeches. We don't want instability. Oh, we want poverty though. I'd rather have instability, motherfucking have money in my pocket and feed my children than your damn. I don't want any instability and me be poor. You know. So that's so damn your instability. I mean your damn stability. If I got to be poor and don't know where my next meal is coming from in the richest continent on the planet, because everybody's stealing. If you tell me it's okay if everybody steal from me, I'm not supposed to overthrow you bastards who are helping in the bank robbery. See, this is a step. So you puppets are helping people steal from me and my family's future. That's what it's called, theft. By any other name, it's called theft for me and my children and my grandchildren. That's what's been happening. You telling me to keep accepting that for stability and peace. Fuck that. You got to go. Go ahead.
Some Kenyans are asking dangerous questions. Could a coup restore Kenya's dignity?
Dangerous.
Should the nation consider going the Burkina Faso way?
I think, you know, when we talk about like a military taking over a country, you know, what happens when a military takes over? You know, one thing that I love about
Kenya's military, I don't believe Kenya's military is corrupt. So you can't have the Kenyan military. The people got to take over. You don't have Kenyan has a whole system is corrupt from top to bottom. So you asking this dumbass question is that people not smart enough. Kenyan's military is corrupt. So you can't have them take over. So there's a difference between a military that's non-corrupt and one that is corrupt. And maybe the youth, not the generals that are there in Kenya, those are all corrupt, fake bastards. If the youth military of kids who are educated, smart, take over, get rid of the generals, yeah. When we're talking about a coup doesn't have to come from the military. Coup comes from the people. That's called a revolution. See, we're not talking, you have to say all these fake words, you say coup and military. No, the people can take over, and that's called a revolution. So you don't want to put that in your mouth because you want to say, oh, the coup, the military. No, the Kenyan military is corrupt as fuck. We're not talking about. We're talking about the people having a revolution and taking over. A real revolution where the people now have control of the government. See, it's not either or. Oh, we have the civilian room or the military. No, we're talking about the civilians, the people. The people overthrowing the government. And once the people overthrow the government, the military stands down or they'll get wiped out because the people are the majority. There's no military that can ever fight its own people. They'll try, but they'll get wiped out. Once the people get rid of their fear, you don't have enough military people to overthrow the people. You have enough military. So the people, revolution, not no damn coup. You won't put that in your filthy mouth because you know that's the real deal. Revolution. Fuck a coup. We're talking about the revolution. Go ahead, Joe.
There was a time when the British were, colonized this country and they lived here. And there are people who had the audacity, Mau Mau and the rest of them, to say, this is not what we want. And it is
that was a revolution.
At the beginning, they looked like they were mad men and women claiming that there would be an end to this. There's a play that is running now, the Mau Mau, the Dedan Kimathi's trial. And I went to watch it. And during that time, it looked like it was impossible that they were thinking that the British could stop ruling this country.
Because they were fearless.
And we got independence.
And remember, go back to all the old British when they were fighting them out. The terrorists. They killed the good Kenyan citizens and the white man who's supposed to rule. See, they always call you a terrorist when you fight for actual justice. That's the scam they use. Mau Mau were fighting for what belonged to African people, their land and their goddamn dignity. That's what they were fighting for. But in all those old British clips, go look them up. They're on YouTube. That Mau Mau, the British terrorists, the terrorists fighting for justice and what belonged to them. They were terrorists. Criminals. Right? Criminals, yeah. The criminals, the brutal criminals, the Mau Mau, the brutal criminals, right?
They said, hey, but
go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
We have a single party, multi-party system. Now we want to have several parties. We had 24 years of the same president. Multi-party, and they looked like they were out of their minds. And
that was Moi.
I'm sure there were people sitting there asking, but what are these people talking about? We have a single party system. We got a multi-party system. That came through. Then we thought, okay, we need a new constitution. We went through, we got a new constitution. What we're looking at today is a lot of people are very disillusioned. They're thinking, what are these young people doing? What are they talking about? They're not understanding something very fundamentally simple. We are issue-based. I think we were discussing this before. And they're just not believing it. We are issue-based. It doesn't matter who you are sitting at what position. We want systemic change. I want a system that works for all of us. If Ayub comes in, it doesn't matter that you're Ayub. It doesn't matter that you're from whatever tribe, whatever political affiliation. The system will work in your favor.
You understand how the youth are saying they understand that you fake nepotism, you fake tribal shit. We don't care about that shit. We don't want to hear that you get this tribe. We want the system to work fair for all us Kenyans. We want a fair system that we control and run, not by outside force, the IMF, and they use you as a deciding force right, with your puppets up in there. We want a system that benefits all Kenyans and fair and for our prosperity. We know you're stealing. We know the country's not supposed to be poor. We know the British have secret mines in Kenya where they're stealing millions of dollars. And we want these goddamn bases out. Why do we got British bases in Kenya, but we got no Kenyan bases in Britain? Go ahead, Joey.
That is what, as young people, we are asking for. And there's a tone deafness that is going on because, unfortunately, they're used to the
they're not tone deaf. They know what you're asking, lady. No, it's not a tone deaf. They're scared because, you know what I'm saying, their puppets control, their puppet masters control. They know what you're asking for. They're not stupid. They know what you're saying is actually correct. They don't want to give up that power and the money that they got from being corrupt, young lady. They know. They're not tone deaf. Don't ever believe they don't know what you're talking about and what you're asking for. You got to know that they're puppets and they have masters that they answer to, and their masters saying, crush these goddamn people. They're fucking the money up and they're fucking the goddamn system up. Any threat to the system, you crush them and break their back. So understand, ladies, they're not tone deaf. They know what you're asking for, and they know what you're asking for is just and right. They don't want to give it to you because you'll destroy the system. Go ahead, Joker.
Oopsie, I moved it. God dang.
We'll go back to it.
God damn. Gonna start
Go back
again.
to it.
There was a time when the British were, colonized this country and they lived here. And there are people who had the audacity, Mau Mau and the rest of them, to say, this is not what we want. And it is true that in the beginning, they looked like they were mad men and women, claiming that there would be an end to this. There's a play that is running now, the Mau Mau, the Dedan Kimathi's trial. And I went to watch it. And during that time, it looked like it was impossible.
And pause it. And do you got they never celebrate the real? Is there a Dedan Kimathi holiday in Kenya? No. Why not? Why not? They never celebrate the real revolutionaries ever because you never got free. Go ahead, Joe.
It could stop ruling this country, and that came, and we got independence. Then there are people who came up and said, hey, but we only have a single party, multi-party system. Now we want to have several parties. We had 24 years of the same president. Multi-party. And they looked like they were out of their minds. And I'm sure there were people sitting there asking, but what are these people talking about? We have a single party system. We got a multi-party system. That came through. Then we thought, okay, we need a new constitution. We went through, we got a new constitution. What we're looking at today is a lot of people are very disillusioned. They're thinking, what are these young people doing? What are they talking about? They're not understanding something very fundamentally simple. We are issue-based. I think we were discussing this before. And they're just not believing it. We are issue-based. It doesn't matter who you are sitting at what position. We want systemic change. I want a system that works for all of us. If Ayub comes in, it doesn't matter that you're Ayub. It doesn't matter that you're from whatever tribe, whatever political affiliation. The system will work in your favor.
Your babies are too educated. Hey, Kenyans, your babies are too educated now. See that, lady? Your babies are too educated. You're in trouble. Your babies, which are now 20, 27, 20, your babies are too educated. You're fucked. Your babies are too educated. Go ahead.
And there's a tone deafness that is going on because, unfortunately, they're used to the old kind of politics that is going through. And that's why right from the beginning, I was in the demonstrations last year. And I can tell you that if the demonstrations last year were party-based, I would have never gone out and risked my life. The only reason I was there is because for the first time, I could identify with it. Now, the very foundation that is used to attack us young people and this movement is the foundation that builds us and makes us stronger. The fact that leaderless, partyless, tribeless, I know that it sounds very much like there's a euphoria thing going on, but they're not believing. They're not believing that 70% of this population, which is actually young people, they're coming up and they're saying, we want a system that works for all of us. Why the political class decides to be threatened by this is a mystery to me. Because what we are fighting for will also benefit you.
It shouldn't be a mystery to you. You got to understand, you got to go keep his Joey. They're controlled, lady. So, but IMF, and they know they've been taught to use tribe against tribe to keep their power, to keep a country called divide and conquer. These handkerchief head morons have been taught that system of divide and conquer to keep the white man's money flowing upward. So you got to understand that, you know, they don't want it to be, they don't believe it's going to benefit them because they don't believe in a fair and equal system. Because the system is created unequal and unfair to make sure that money goes upstairs to the J's. So understand that, ma'am. No, they don't want a fair and equal system that'll work for all Kenyans because then you understand and then you find out that Kenya's not poor and you're not supposed to be living in poverty.
Exactly. So yes, literally, as you can hear, the youths literally again they have a common agenda. The same thing we were discussing yesterday when I was sharing the Lynn Gugi's video. You know, Kenyans have a common agenda. The statement is one: we don't need no opposition, no tribe. We need a working system, literally a working system, and this means starting from democracy being, you know, being broken down. Like, why isn't democracy actually applying according to how it's supposed to be applied? You know, there's a video I was listening to this morning. I don't know if it's the same or her or another lady. Someone was talking about the police. Oh, it was another lady who was talking about according to the system and the law, the police are supposed to be protecting us. And then I felt like asking her, you know, I felt like asking her, lady, can you understand? Can we go back and understand who set up the system? Because this is where we need to go back to the drawing board. The fact that we keep on talking about how this and this is supposed to be working. Who defined how it's supposed to be working? Let's start from there. Were we involved?
No, we weren't involved.
Yes, looking at another video I was reading, literally most of these deals, the so-called democracy, everything, I think it was you who shared that video with me. Most of this literally set up the system the way it is working. Most of the African nations, actually none of the African nation was involved to say, to have us say like, hey, I feel like this is not going to serve our people, this is against our culture, and we don't like that Africans. No Africans were involved in this debate.
Exactly. You know it wasn't because why are all African nations have all European systems of government? Of course, no. Of course, she wasn't involved.
This is why we see them still having ways of paving in every African country, thinking they can do whatever the F they want. On the last conversation, as I wind up, literally, I've taken so much time on today's show, but yeah, it is worth it. Yeah, so today we are to talk about, of course, the launch of the National School Deworming Campaign. This is an agenda. This is a new agenda. Mind you, in 2013, 2014, we had the sterilization agenda in Nigeria, in Kenya, most of the African countries. And
most African countries, Joby.
Exactly. So now we have another new agenda, which is called the National School Deworming Campaign. They're saying that the 12th round of the National School-Based Deworming Campaign was launched actually. This was on 4th of July. Was launched on 4th of July 2024. And this was by the Ministry of Health.
Most black people don't get worms unless you're sleeping with your dog like air time. Black people don't get worms, Joby. You don't get worms.
In collaboration, they're talking in collaboration with Ministry of Education, according to the health center. And this program aims to reach 6 million children. Listen, 6 million children in 16 high-risk counties and 16 high-risk counties, and the campaign seeks to improve children's health and learning abilities. As if right now they're not able to capture anything. This is crazy. Learning where? In which schools? What schools?
You know what this is about.
And this is by addressing parasitic worm infections according to the health community.
Exactly. Where are the Africans getting the worms from, Joe? Most Africans are getting worms. So where's the one? I told you the whole thing is always about the African people's health. You were never unhealthy before you got white people there. So why is it always the health thing? Because they want to put things in your body, Joe.
Exactly. So the counties being targeted, we're talking about Kirinyaga, Homa Bay, Kisii, Kisumu, Migori, Nyamira, Siaya, Bomet, Kericho, Nandi, Narok, Trans Nzoia. The counties majority mentioned, trust me, they don't even have good schools. I'm not even capping about this. Probably maybe Kisumu, maybe not sure, but we're also talking about Bungoma, Busia, Kakamega, and Vihiga. The Ministry of Health, in partnership with the Ministry of Education and Evidence Action, will be leading the initiative. Now, just let me pause on that. They're talking about this is how to boost and whatever. I want to share a video of this lady breaking it down very quickly, and then we get to wind up. I knew it from her because
hey guys, I think we got so busy with the man.
She's been really educating Kenyans about health, about VSCCINEs, about
exactly. Where Africans getting all these worms from? Africans don't eat much meat, Joe, and they don't have it and they're not. Most black people don't have worms in their bodies, Joe. Other people do. We don't. And black people not sleeping with their dogs.
Hey guys, I think we got so busy with the Mandamano and the Reject Finance Bill, I forgot to talk about this. Can you see this, guys? National Deworming Campaign. Look at it. These people who want to come and deworm your children.
They never stop, Joe. I told you, they never stop, Joe. It's a war after war after war. They never stop.
Exactly. And I do believe, of course, this was a launch that happened last year. So mind you, we have Bill Gates, of course, who donated lots of funds.
Of course.
We know these funds where they are going in most of the sectors, health being number one of the focus.
They do not care about your children. Most of the time when you see such initiatives, they are actually coming to poison your children.
Yes.
Do a research and know who is funding. Most of the time, it's not the MOH that is funding.
African people starting to know.
That is funding such campaigns. And the big pharma are bringing in these medicines. Guys, anything that is free, question. It's either coming to kill you, destroy you, or make you sicker. I would want the people of, Kanju, Kirinyaga, to be very careful of anything in terms of health the ministry or the MOH is bringing to your children. Guys, this is poison. If these people don't feed you, why are they coming to deworm you?
Exactly. And then they're going to try to mandate it through your fake politicians who control. They'll try to say it's mandated. You got to take it. You got to take it now. Through your fake politicians who are controlled by the IMF, the same people that owns these pharmaceutical companies, but now try to mandate it on your people. And she's right. What she said is correct. See, Africans, everything she said is absolutely 100% correct.
Sadly, most of the people are not really that much educated because looking at
I know they don't know that.
I love to go through. One of the persons says this is normal. We used to be given at schools, and we are not poisoned. So what is wrong?
Oh, yeah, lady, you were poisoned. Luckily, at that time, you poisoned. You don't know you're poisoned, but your great African genetics, it might have not taken as much as for you. But yeah, lady, you were poisoned. But you're a moron. Instead of going to find out and see what this lady's saying, you say, we went back to school. It's good. The white man came with school, and it's white people, and white people are Jesus. Yes.
Someone else told them, if you use this brain to actually just cross the road, we're going to see you on the news because for once you'd have used your brain,
Exactly. Thank God. See, they waking up there. They know that's a moron that just said that. You're a moron.
Literally. And someone else says, I'm going to read this. Yani schools are not afraid of being sued. How do you make a medical decision for a child without the parents' knowledge? Exactly. The Ministry of Education is very wrong for doing this because the last time we also had sterilization cases, and if not, students report back at home, most of the children are supposed to be actually trapped, and they would have been affected because no parent was told, no consent, nothing. That's the Ministry of Education making this decision. The last comment I'm going to read, someone else says, my friend's son had this free deworm where alienda Kenyatta Hospital, alitoa damu, mapua, macho na mdomo. Literally, in short, she's saying this one of the children got these free deworms and they started bleeding from the nose, the eyes.
How about that?
And
How about
but
that? And who said, and like I said, most Africans, your body doesn't, you don't have the body that allows worms
mhm,
to digest in your system. That's why you kept uneducated. Our system are completely different from the Europeans, the East Indians, and the Asians. They got worms. We
mhm,
don't get them. See, but you're
exactly.
not taught that. They just tell you, all people get worms every day. Why you I got worms in my body? Show me. Where are the worms? And where the worms coming from? They'll never want
Exactly.
to tell you that. They just want to tell you, oh, we're going to deworm your body. Okay,
And
where am I getting the worms from? Go ahead,
mhm,
Joe.
remember also this year we had a number of polio cases, deaths
Of course.
from children who got the polio vaccination
Polio
in
vaccine. Exactly.
this.
Because the polio vaccine, we can't say on YouTube, but the polio vaccine is not, it's, you guys get me in quotes, it's safe and effective. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's crazy. But yes, family, we're coming to the end of today's conversation. 1 hour, 35 minutes. I've taken so much time, but it was worth it. I hope you have enjoyed, learned something on today's conversation.
Yeah,
Share.
especially when I first came in, shit, you was breaking down the whole banking scam. Who owns it? Who runs it? You know, Warburgs, Rothschilds, that fake Illuminati shit, the real shit. Who runs it? Who
Yeah.
controls it?
So do share this live with your family and friends. Let them also stay educated on the news, real news and updates of what is happening in Africa. Real news. That is what's up. But I see Sinovia as I wind up says so many government officials are bought and they don't care about their constituents. I do agree. Also, she says we will start to analyze their colonized leaders. I do agree. That should actually be a whole generation being targeted. She also says an eye for an eye. Exactly. Baron Scott Karibu Sana, nice to see you. She says, Sinove says, big up to Mau Mau movement, of course. She also says the British are evil just like the rest of the West. I agree. John Mosquito, Karibu Sana, Lakini, you are late. Nice to see you though. I hope you did an amazing exercise there. I know that's why you are late, probably jogging there, getting all healthy, and all that. But anyway, much love, family. That has been my time with you right here on the Pan African Bliss, the show of today. What are your closing remarks, Keith, as we wind up?
Oh, I'm saying it was a great. My closing remarks, a great show. Go back and look at the repeat of it. Wow, you always become a scholar. It's crazy. Anyway, much love, guys, and see you
Much
guys
love,
this
family.
afternoon. That's all I can say. Come back and
Yes.
enjoy ear time and see what she's talking about in the next few minutes.
Yep. Yeah. So much love, family. Have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful day. We out. Oopsie. I'm sharing the screen.